Candy, I am so excited to have you on the I Love Coaching podcast. I've been looking forward to this because you and I had a great conversation on your podcast, and now it's my turn to return the favor. Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. And I love the title. And yes, we both love coaching. So great to
Yes,
be here.
we do. So let's dive right into it. I want you to share with the listeners who you are, where you are. We always start off with the question, you were born and then what happened? So you can tell us, you can take us back as far as you want to. It can be yesterday or you can be all the way from childhood. You are leading here.
Yeah. So my name is Candy Motzek, and I am a coach for coaches. And this is really fun speaking to a peer, somebody who just loves coaching, wants coaches to be successful. And that's my thing too. My story. I thought of being a coach. I was a leader in corporate for years and years. We did great work. It was a great team, fabulous company. And then I realized that I was really out of alignment, and that showed up in a very severe case of burnout. Um, to the point that I couldn't remember my phone number. And I'm an engineer originally by trade. So that's kind of a thing. Um, that burnout led to some really interesting things. And most notably, what happened is I was on a cruise ship and we were going to Antarctica, and I was freaked out. Like I was like, oh, the weather's going to be terrible. It's going to be huge waves. It's going to be really dangerous. And it came time for the circumnavigating, like going past Cape Horn, some of the most dangerous waters in the world. And the day came about. It was sunny, it was 70 degrees, and it was flat calm. And we went, and I'm sipping coffee on the deck, doing this, what is normally a momentous journey. And I realized I'd been thinking of being a coach, and I'd been so scared about what was going to happen. And all of that anticipation didn't matter. Just like I was so scared to be in those waters, and it was flat calm and sunny, sipping coffee on the deck, not even wearing a jacket. So it just shows you how often we get in our own way of
Oh.
the dreams that we have. And so that was how I started. It was like, oh, wait a minute. That's not necessarily true. And so I don't have to decide to be afraid first. I can decide to be courageous and curious and see what happens, and then get to do amazing things.
I love that story. I I want to go back to this heavy, I mean, that's heavy, burnout.
Yeah.
That you were so burned out, that you were so in this space of dunzoism, we'll call it, that you forgot your own phone number.
Yeah. Hmm.
And what tell us about that experience, because here's what we know. We as coaches, we know that there are people right now in that exact same space that are considering doing something else and won't, and they will stay there in that space of, I can't even remember my number, but I'm too afraid to go jump the fence. Tell
That's
us
right.
about that time.
Yeah. And I think for so many people, burnout specifically creeps up on us, right?
Mm.
It's like it's just a little bit by a little bit and a little bit, and you think you're under control. And then you realize, wait a minute, I'm having a tough time here. Then all of a sudden you're holding on by your fingernails, and then you're holding on by one fingernail, and then it's gone. But
Mm.
because we don't have a great perspective on who we are or what we're doing, and we're so busy keeping up, especially in my situation in corporate, really high stress environment, lots of stuff going on, lots of changes and initiatives happening that I was leading. You forget who you are, and
Mm.
so this thing of when you forget who you are, it is really easy to lose your way. And that for me is one of the drivers that I see with the people that I speak to who have experienced burnout. I lost myself. I forgot who I was. put things on, on the in the forefront. I made things a priority that didn't really matter to me, didn't really support me or my family or my relationships or my mission in life. And so we sort of, when we forget, we get to know that we can also remember. And I think
Mm,
that's really important, that we can remember who we are and that it
mm,
doesn't take much to remember, right? Like our deepest self wants to be known. And
mm,
so it's there at a moment's notice. And I just hope that that kind of provides a little bit of hope for somebody who might be struggling as well. It doesn't have to be a difficult journey to find that, who you are again.
that's really impactful. I like that language, perspective on our own identity. And it's not even the word identity there that is the key word, it's perspective, right? We
Yes.
really pay attention to that perspective. So take us through that with you. This perspective, right? You're in this corporate world and this perspective hits you, right? And this perspective hits you not only from the fact that you can't remember your phone number, but now you're going on this cruise, and the cruise is going to go through a very highly volatile, we'll say, area that could be life or death, right? It could be. And
Right.
then we're putting this in our head here. And you get through it, smooth sailing, pun intended. What perspective did that bring to the identity of Candy at that moment in time to say, I'm gonna go see this coach space. I'm gonna go jump into it.
Yeah. So it was the identity shift and the perspective shift was really how many other things have I been too scared to try? And,
Mm,
it's not that I was leading a mediocre life or an unfulfilled life. I was taking chances, but not the risks that really mattered to me, not the risks that made me a fuller human being. So it's this realizing how much I had scared myself
mm,
and then wondering, well, gosh, then what's possible? What could be possible? Now, because so many of my peers and my direct reports had said, Candy, you should be a coach. And I kept hearing them and hearing them and hearing them. And so that's when I started to get curious and I really looked into it. And truthfully, within returning from that cruise, it was within 2 weeks that I attended my first coach training. There
wow.
was one spot available in the training that I took it, and that's it. Like, it just once the pieces came together, that perspective, then the stars really aligned.
Mm, that's good. I love the introspective there of the question, what else have I been saying no to that I've actually missed so much more? Because there's
Yeah.
so many listeners right now that are asking themselves that exact same question because it was prompted by you. That's so good. How many other things are you missing because you
Yes.
are afraid? Mm.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, well, let's fast forward to now, and I'm so glad you had those moments. I'm so glad that you stepped into that 2-week training and jumped into it and said, "Oh, I like this space a lot."
Yeah.
You coach. Who do you
Yeah.
coach? What do you coach? What's your process? Tell us everything about your coaching world because I'm so excited to hear all of
Okay.
it.
So, I coach professionals and senior leaders who want to be coaches. I help
Mm,
them get started. I help them build their business, sign clients, do all the things. And the reason that it's that group of people, coaching is a wonderful industry, but professionals and senior leaders coming into it, they're often feeling like, I really want to do this thing, but it's a little bit flaky. And so that perceived, maybe I'm going to lose some of my expertise, the respect of my peers. My family might say, "You're going to what?" And so it's a tender time for them. And I've been there. And so it's a great group. And that's who I work with.
that's good. I love that, I had when I got out of college and played professional tennis and had a college degree, and my first job was that of someone answering the phones at a tennis club. And I'll never forget, my stepfather said, "Hey, you can either stay there and never ask for money, or you can come home and get a real job," right? And that's what I'm hearing you say right there is these professionals and senior leaders are stepping into a space that they don't believe is a quote unquote maybe real job, right?
Yeah.
So how do you help them through that? Let's just go with that, their perspective, right? Because they're leaving what I like to call a container that is coming into now a space where they are and their payoff is the value. How do you help that mindset step into that new identity space, which could be their true identity all along?
Exactly. And we don't start by saying, hey, you should quit your fancy job, fancy title, and become a coach full time. Some of them
Mm,
want to, some of them, they're not ready for that yet. But coaching is often that really it's part of their purpose. They
mm,
feel really drawn to having these conversations with people and helping people see themselves in a new way. And so there is that draw. And so first I help them get in touch with that. Why is this meaningful to you? Like, why do you want to do it? And to remind themselves that doing coaching is them saying yes to themselves, right?
mm,
They've often been saying no to themselves. No, not until I get that VP role. No, not until I retire. Who knows what it is. But they get to say yes to themselves. I also remind them that they are multifaceted people. They get to be the physician and a coach. They
yeah.
get to be the engineer and a coach. They get to be the VP and the coach. They're not just one or the other. They're much more than that title. So that's a little bit of the mindset shift for them. The other thing is the approach that I help them use is creating their own authority. And we
Mm,
do that either through a survey on a topic that is deeply interesting to both them and their dream clients, or a research conversations. So doing a series of interviews where they're talking to people who will be like their dream clients and getting into really great conversations with them.
mm,
So the fun thing about these, either doing a survey, research project, whatever format they decide to do, is that they're talking to the people that they would love to work with.
mm,
They're really hearing their voice. They're hearing their challenges. And so when they gather that data together and create something with it, it's not just them. They're saying, listen, I asked these questions and this is what you told me. And that really shifts their perspective. They really feel empowered then, because now it's not just their opinion, right? It's they've gone and gathered this information. It's pretty fun.
that- yeah, that's good. I want to go back to the word, you used two words there that actually three words, but I want to dive into the word purpose, right? So
Mm.
you help them identify this purpose that they feel drawn to. What do you think, just from your experience with the coaches that you lead, what do you think creates that, right? This sense of purpose that they're drawn to.
Mm.
And because they're coming from successful spaces, right? They're usually coming from successful spaces, and maybe they've established burnout or something, but they do feel that they're being drawn to something else, and then you help them establish that purpose, right? What do you experience with them in that space of establishing and identifying that?
Yeah, for them, it's a feeling of coming
Mm,
home to who they are, remembering that there is something about these deeper conversations and supporting people and being of service that is deeply satisfying.
mm,
And so, yes, they're successful in their life. They've got the job, they've got the vacation home, they've got the car, the kids go to good schools, all of that stuff. But that's an outer container, right? Like all that stuff is outside of you. And so, who are you at your core? What really matters to you? And when you start to allow that into your life, nothing's going to hold you back,
mm.
because now you're lit from within, right?
Right. Yeah, that's good. Gosh, that's so good. Okay, now let's go to the word authority, right? You use the word authority. You help these individuals who are multifaceted identify this authority, right? This and you do it through research and conversations and surveys. When they find that, with the coaches that you coach, when they find that authority, right? And I love some of your language. You're coming home. There's service providers. Coming home is that core about them. When they find this authority, and maybe they've had bosses themselves for some times, right?
Mhm.
What do you experience then when they feel this authority and they feel that these people will listen to them and actually pay them for their solutions? What do you experience with those coaches?
So what I experience is a big smile. I'm like, "Yes, this is great. I'm so happy to see you doing your thing." What they experience is a funny word. I would say it's almost they relax
Mm,
because now they're not fighting, they're not proving, they're not defending, they're not justifying. They get to just be.
mm,
And we know that it's not what you do, but who you are being that draws that to you. And so when they can be relaxed, and yes, I'll use the word confident, but it's a different kind of confident. It's not a confident because you've achieved X, Y, Z. It's self-assured. They can feel settled and self-assured. And so for them, if you feel relaxed and you feel self-assured, then inviting people to be your clients, having those conversations, it's easy, right?
right,
You're talking
right,
about stuff that's interesting that with people that you love. How could you fail?
right. Gosh,
Yeah.
that is so good. Um, okay, so good stuff. So let's pause there for a second because that's all such good stuff, and I want to talk to the audience. If we're listening, if an audience member right now, because I mean your language with the coming home. I mean, when they identify that purpose and that attaches to coming home, golly, Kenny, that is so good. What would you say to an audience member right now if they are saying, I want to come home?
Hmm.
I want to come home. What
Yeah.
would you suggest that they go do if they're not in your world, and they just want to experience the clarity there of their purpose, finding that purpose, coming home?
So, what I suggest is that coming home is natural, that
Mm,
it's not hard, that it is something that is innate within you. It's just like, do you want to drink a glass of nice water? Yeah, of course. Coming home is sort of as difficult as that, assuming you have nice water in your life.
sure.
And it's about getting a little bit quiet. I usually suggest people sort of disengage from a lot of their electronics and get outside in nature and move their body, whether it be a walk, whether it be a run, spend time outside, especially in the greenery, and allow yourself to get a little bit bored. Bored is good sometimes. And then remember the things that you love to do.
Mm,
It's easy to say, what did you love to do as a kid? But it's not necessarily the exact thing that you love to do, but why did you like it? What was fun about it? Like I used to write as a kid, but it was like child writing, right? Copying words and stuff. But it was this idea about communicating and thinking about thoughts and, getting a perspective on things. And so it's like, what is the activity? And then why? What's the underneath thing about that? The other thing that I suggest is for people to go and have some darn fun, get creative,
yeah.
do something different that takes you out of your zone. I have what my husband now says is like this growing shelf full of pottery. I started doing pots on the wheels, like throwing ceramics
Ah,
on the wheel. And
mm,
I'm terrible, but it's super fun. So you do those things and you remember to not take yourself so seriously. And guess what? Pretty soon you're going to find those hot tracks. Yeah.
so good. Gosh, that is so good. Such good language here. Okay, so let's move on now. Okay, so they've found themselves, right? They've come home, they understand their purpose, they are understanding their authority, they're now relaxed, they're self-assured. And then they have to go find a client or
Hmm.
two or that approach, right? But they still have what I call a survivor job, right? So they still
Day
have
job.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, day job, survivor job, yeah. what do you say to those coaches? It's like, because some of them will, I mean, you've experienced it probably too, as I do. When we coach coaches, like, okay, I've got all my clarity here. I know I know the purpose, and I know what I can go help people do. And we go right to people who don't know us, right? We go right to the social media world.
Uh,
We go where we think we have to have quote unquote exposure, right? And that's it.
yeah.
I know it probably drives you crazy because it definitely drives me crazy. But what do you say to this person now? Right? You're coaching this coach. They've got clarity. They understand their authority. They're relaxed. They've gone out and played. They've thrown some clay. And what do we go do now, coach? Well, how do I go get a client?
Well, most of them have already got clients by that point. And that is because when they were doing that research project, it was something they were very interested in, talking to the kind of people that they love to work with. And
Mhm.
so they're in curious mode. And then maybe they heard, oh, I'm having issues with burnout or my relationship or whatever. And they've asked the question and they just said, well, would you like to have a conversation? I could possibly help you with that.
Right.
And because the vibe that you're in is already curious and coach like and focused on that person, many of those people will say, yeah, I'd love to have a conversation.
Right.
Then when they're ready, they can come and be a client. You have that conversation. So for the most part, I've found that they've already signed clients by that point.
Right.
And I agree about this visibility, getting exposure thing. You know, people won't sign you as with you as a client or a coach just because they saw you in passing on the Instagram feed. It's only when they feel connected to you, we've maybe had a conversation or something that really feels like a conversation that they start to consider it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Do you have, let me go into maybe some tactical questions here. Do you have a preference when a coach comes into your world for them to say, "Hey, I want to coach one on one," or "I want to coach in a group," or "I want to do a more masses approach"? Do you
yeah.
have preferences there? What's your thoughts around either one of those?
Yeah. And so my thoughts are most of the people that I'm working with, they are new. It's easier
Okay.
to sign private clients than it is to fill a group, to build a mastermind, or to do some other sort of larger scale enterprise. I suggest that they go with one on one to get started. And
Mm,
many of them want to do other things, but let's start there. Get you coaching, get you making some money, start to get, a bit of a fill calendar under you before
right.
you start expanding. I think
Gotcha.
those other methods are fabulous, and many people are really well geared to do those. But when you're starting, start with the thing that's easy.
Yeah. 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 Well, I love that because I agree with that too. Not only is it easy, though, those people are probably right underneath your nose.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They're right underneath your nose, and they already look at you as an authority, and they're actually waiting for you to say, "Hey, I will help you," and then they will raise their hand, right? That's what we
Exactly.
experience. Yeah.
Hmm.
Love that. Now, I wanna go into pricing, right? Because here's what I've experienced, and I don't know if you've experienced this because I haven't asked you yet, but I experience when coaches come in, they think of pricing and they think, "Well, I've been coached before, and I'm going to follow that type of pricing model." Or they'll say, my last container, well, I got a salary of that. I worked that many hours. If I take those numbers divided by, that's my hourly wage. And so if I'm going to coach Candy, then I'm going to take, well, my hourly wage and maybe add a few extra dollars so I can say I'm making more money. What is your thought and or strategy or just coaching methodology around pricing?
Mm. So there's no world where your salary and bonuses as an employee are going to match what you need to charge or what you want to charge as a business owner. As a business owner, you've got overhead, you've got costs, you've got
Mm,
coach training, you've got assistants, you've got all those other things that you do. And you need to keep the lights on in your business. So oftentimes if you broke it down to the hourly rate, it would be significantly more that you need
mm,
to charge than if you are an hourly employee. That being said, for me when somebody's a newer coach, I suggest don't charge a ton. Like just start working with your first 5 clients, really help them get value, really give them a great experience. That's just your foundation. Don't rush ahead to try and, make 7 figures. Like, let's just start with the basics first.
Yeah.
There was one other question that you asked me, Adam. Just a sec.
Uh-oh.
What was it? Oh, it was to do with how do you decide to charge, right? What's the value? And, so I think that when you're thinking about what to charge, you want to look at the result of working with you. Say you're a career coach and you're going to help that person take that next promotion. What's the difference in the salary that they're going to make over the next 10 or 20 years? And what does that give them? Now start looking at what you're thinking of charging in relationship to the benefit. Like, what's the ROI on working with you? And
So
so, a
good.
couple different things to think about: business owner, ROI, and what's your tolerance as a new coach starting out?
So good. What I love about that, and I love the simplistic approach that you gave there, is when we look at who we are attempting to coach, you and I, we're coaching coaches. Coaches need coaches, you all. I'm going to say that again because what
Yeah.
Candy just gave as coaching advice, someone coming out of a senior leadership role may feel, and I don't know any of this next sentence to be true from your world. I can only take it from my world. They may have what we call egos, right? And these egos may cloud the vision of what they should be charging. And what I've experienced, and maybe you have too, is they actually undercharge.
Yeah.
And they undercharge, and because they don't have guidance or leadership around themselves as a coach to coach them. So, I wanna talk about that for a second because I've heard many times, "Wait a minute, you coach coaches? Why would a coach need a coach?" What is your theory and or belief around that? Because, I mean, if we're coaches, why do coaches need coaches?
Well, first, if you want to be a coach, you want to always be growing and improving. We're always going to have blind spots that we can't see. Because we're growing, we're coming up against more blind spots. So, coaching helps with that. And second is it's a matter of integrity. If you
Mm,
believe that people should pay you to be a coach, then you should be investing in your own coaching too. I- It's like if a physician says, "Well, I don't need a doctor," you'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Right? Don't you have, a GP and maybe you've got a couple of specialists too?
mm,
If you don't believe in medicine, how can you be a physician, right? So it's the same idea, right? So we talk about integrity, and we also, there's this saying, coach goes first. We need to keep growing because we want to, and because we can, and because it also shows our clients that we're doing the thing too. We're growing too. We're taking the uncomfortable risks.
mhm. That's really, really good. Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, if you're not growing, we know which way you're going.
Yes.
And, and here's the thing that I have experienced too. We every once in a while we will teach coaches to be what we call chapters ahead, right? So it is, hey, if you're coaching in this specific space, great, you need to be a few chapters ahead anyway. And if your clients know that they are outperforming you in a specific vertical, you won't have any more clients, right? And so it is one of those things where I believe, and just like you said, the integrity space is if you're not growing as a coach, you're you're gonna get, well, I'm just gonna put it this way, from my own perspective, you're going to lose business. Right. If you're
Yeah.
not growing yourselves, you will lose business. I mean, heck, Candy, I have no doubt you have coaches in your world. I have 4 coaches in my world, and I feel naked if I don't have a coach in my world. Mhm. Very, very, very true.
Agreed. Agreed.
Very true. Okay, so let's do this. Um, I want people who are listening right now to come find you. I want them to come follow you. I want them to engage with you. What is the best way that they can do that so they can continue to learn from you? They can engage in your ecosystem and get coached up by you if they choose to.
Awesome. And thank you for asking. The easiest way is to come and listen to my podcast. Just like Adam has this fabulous show here, you can just go on any player and you'll find my podcast. It's called She Coaches Coaches. That's the
Mm.
easiest way to come into my world. And I do offer a free gift for people as well. I have an 8-part mini training that you can take to start your coaching business, get started, start your first program, start meeting your first people, and you can find that at candysfreegift.com. Always available for anyone.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I love the name. She Coaches Coaches and Candy's Free Gift. Love it. Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Well, Candy, thank you for jumping on the I Love Coaching podcast. And thank you again for having me on your show. And I have no doubt that our listeners got a lot of great advice here. I know I did. I have a whole page of notes here. And I'm so glad that our paths have crossed here. I have a new friend in the coaching business.
Thank you, Adam. And I'm so glad we had a chance to meet. And I appreciate you inviting me to be on your show.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so for all of our listeners, go find Candy, go get her free guide and engage with her. She's a very valuable asset in our coaching space. And I was so excited to have her on the show today for all of you. Candy, thank you. And all of our listeners, thank you. See you next time. See you. Bye.